The fleet that shook them. The galaxy had always been a place of noise and pride. Countless empires shouted their power across the stars. Armies clashed, fleets burned, and rulers declared themselves the center of all life. But one night, in the dark silence of the rim worlds, something new appeared, something so quiet, so steady, that it made the loudest voices fall silent. A fleet came from the void. It was not large compared to the endless numbers of alien ships the galaxy knew, but it was different. The ships were sharp and massive, black metal shining like knives in starlight. They moved in perfect formation. No sound, no wasted motion. They did not drift like other fleets. They cut through space with purpose. The first to see them were the Dravari, a proud race known for their warrior clans, their patrol. Ships picked up the intruders near the edge of their claimed systems. At first, they laughed. "Only one fleet?" They said, "We will crush them in moments." They sent a warning message, demanding surrender. No answer came. Instead, the strange ships kept moving. Their lights blinked in cold rhythm. Their weapons glowing faintly, the Dravari grew uneasy. They sent more ships, 1,000 strong, to surround the newcomers. It should have been enough. The newcomers should have bowed, or at least slowed. But the fleet did not break formation. It kept moving forward, like a tide that would never stop. Then came the first shot. It was not fired by the Dravari. It was fired by the strange fleet. One beam, white as lightning, cut through 3 Dravari cruisers in a single strike. They exploded before they even knew they were under attack. The laughter of the Dravari turned into silence, then screams. The Dravari unleashed all their weapons. Missiles, beams, plasma space lit up like fire. But the strange fleet did not fall. Their shields shone like walls of light. Their guns answered with fire so precise, so merciless, that entire wings of Dravari ships were erased in seconds. It was not a battle. It was an execution. News traveled fast across the galaxy. Empires and councils turned their eyes to the rim. The reports said the same thing. A single fleet has crushed the Dravari's warriors. The Dravari begged for reinforcements, but by the time more help arrived, it was too late. Their clans were broken, their fleets scattered, and the strange fleet stood unharmed. The Council of Worlds called an emergency session, the chambers filled with alien rulers. Some shouted that the invaders must be stopped. Others whispered that they should surrender at once. For no one understood who these strangers were. Their weapons were unknown, their tactics unmatched. It was as if the galaxy faced a ghost from some forgotten war, and a signal was captured. It was faint, buried inside the fleet's transmissions. A single word repeated again and again. A word not heard in the galaxy for centuries. The word was Earth. The chamber fell into silence. For 1,000 years, Earth had been forgotten. Long ago, the humans had been driven back, beaten by stronger powers. Their world was left in ruins, their colonies taken, their people scattered. The galaxy laughed at them, calling them weak, calling them broken, and now, suddenly, their name returned with thunder. The rulers argued. Some said it was impossible. The humans are gone, they said. They have no fleets. But the evidence was clear. The design of the ships matched no alien race. The voices on the intercepted channels were human, and their weapons deadly, brilliant, merciless, were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Fear spread like wildfire. Planets whispered in dark halls. Markets went silent. The common people asked their leaders one question. If one fleet could crush an empire, what would happen if more arrived? The Dravari begged the council for help. They had lost worlds, their clans humiliated. They demanded revenge. They demanded the galaxy stand together. But no one answered them, for in their hearts, the other rulers knew the truth. If they faced the humans together, they would all fall together. The fleet kept moving, deeper into the galaxy. It did not slow. It did not stop to claim worlds. It simply advanced, silent and steady. Every star it passed fell into quiet fear. Some planets surrendered before the fleet even came close, raising white banners into the void. Others fled, abandoning colonies and homes, leaving the stars empty. The fear was worse than any weapon. No one knew what the humans wanted. No one knew what they would say, but they knew one thing. A single fleet had made them tremble, and deep in their hearts, every ruler, every warrior, every common soul prayed the same desperate prayer. Let it only be one fleet. Asterisk Council of Panic. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council was never silent. It was built to echo with the voices of hundreds of rulers, governors, and warlords. But on this day, silence ruled. The memory of the human fleet's first strike lingered in every mind. The images of Dravari warships breaking apart like paper haunted them. No one wanted to speak first. At last, the voice of Chancellor Valerin, a tall insectoid leader of the Varen, broke the quiet. "We face a threat unlike any in our history," he said. His antennae twitched nervously. "A single fleet of humans has destroyed one of our strongest warrior clans." His words trembled. "If they bring more—" He stopped. He could not finish the thought. Everyone already knew. The chamber erupted. Shouts and screams filled the hall. The Korra, a reptilian empire, slammed their claws against the table. "We must unite." Their leader roared. "If we attack together, we can crush them before they spread further." "No," cried the Volari, a race of glowing energy beings. "Have you not seen their weapons? They burned through shields as if they were nothing. If we attack, we die." The arguments grew louder. Every ruler shouted over the others. Some demanded war, some begged for surrender, some insisted that humanity must be reasoned with. But no one could agree, and all the while, the silent fear grew heavier. At the far end of the chamber, a small alien with pale skin and sharp eyes sat quietly. He was Archivist Drael of the Lumeri, keeper of ancient records. "I warned you," he said softly. But his voice cut through the noise. The chamber froze. "Centuries ago, I recorded the fall of Earth," Drael continued. "We mocked them, we enslaved them, we left them to die. But the humans did not vanish. They waited, they built in secret, and now they return. Not as beggars, not as victims, but as conquerors." His words stabbed the room like a blade. A shiver ran through the chamber. For deep in their archives, many had read the same truth. The humans were once known as fighters who never surrendered. Even when beaten, they endured. Even when broken, they rebuilt. A hologram flickered to life in the center of the chamber. A recording of the battle, Dravari ships surrounding the human fleet, human weapons tearing through them like glass. Gasps filled the room. Even those who demanded war fell silent. "Look at their precision," said the archivist. "Every shot perfect, every move exact. This is not a wild return. This is a carefully planned reappearance." He leaned forward, his pale eyes glowing. "And if they have one fleet, they have more." The rulers trembled. The possibility was too terrible. Chancellor Valerin tried to calm the chamber. "We must send envoys," he said. "We must speak to these humans before it is too late." But the Dravari representative slammed his fists on the table. His armor cracked and burned from the recent battles. His voice was full of rage. "Envoys? They slaughtered us. They destroyed thousands of our ships. You speak of peace while my clans are ash and ruin." His scream echoed through the chamber. "We demand war." But fear answered louder than rage. "You demand war?" hissed the Volari. "And fight it alone. We will not join you." The chamber fell again into chaos. Alliances cracked. Voices clashed. Trust dissolved in minutes. Each empire cared only for its own survival. No one trusted the other to stand against humanity. Then, suddenly, the lights in the chamber dimmed. A new signal cut through their networks. The voices stopped. Every ruler looked to the hologram. It was a transmission, not intercepted by spies, not stolen from the void. It was sent directly to them, straight from the human fleet. A human face appeared, an admiral in dark uniform, calm, cold, his eyes sharp, his voice steady. "We are the children of Earth," he said. "We return not as servants, not as prey, but as rulers of our own fate." His words were simple, spoken in clear basic. "You will listen, or you will fall." The chamber froze. No one moved, for the first time in history, the Galactic Council was not arguing. They were listening, and every ruler, every governor, every warlord knew the truth. The humans had come back. They had come with power, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Asterisk. Humanity's first demand, the human admiral's image filled every corner of the Galactic Council chamber. His uniform was dark, sharp, without the glittering metals the aliens loved to wear. He did not need them. His presence was enough. His eyes were steady, his face calm, but his voice carried power like thunder in silence. "I am Admiral Kane," he said, "commander of Earth's vanguard fleet." His words were measured, not rushed, as if time itself belonged to him. "Have taken from us. You have mocked us. You believed humanity was gone, broken, forgotten." His gaze swept across the chamber as if he could see each of them. "But you were wrong." The rulers of the council shifted uneasily. Some tried to speak, but the transmission continued, not waiting for permission, not caring for their noise. "Here is our first demand," Kane said. His voice did not rise, but every syllable struck like a hammer. "Disarm your war fleets. Dismantle the weapons you once turned against us. Show the galaxy that you will not raise arms against." Earth again. A wave of outrage filled the chamber. The reptilian Korra slammed their claws against the floor. Impossible. Their leader roared. "We would be defenseless." The Volori, glowing like suns, flickered with fear. "Defenseless is better than destroyed," one whispered. The Dravari representative, scarred from battle, rose to his feet. His eyes burned with fury. "You dare order the great empires? You dare threaten us after centuries of hiding? We will not bow." His voice cracked with rage. The admiral did not blink. "Your fleets burned when they challenged us," he said simply. "You are already bowed. You just refused to kneel." The words stung the chamber like fire. For the first time, the proud rulers felt the weight of truth. They had seen the battle recordings. They had watched Dravari ships shatter in seconds. Humanity had not come to ask. They had come to command. Kane leaned closer, his image sharp, his eyes like steel. "This is not revenge," he said. "This is survival, ours and yours. Refuse us, and you will vanish as the Dravari clans have vanished. Accept, and you will live, under new order." A silence stretched long across the chamber. The rulers looked to each other, fear mixed with pride, pride mixed with fear. No one wanted to be the first to answer. At last, the Korra ruler hissed, "And if we refuse? If we stand together?" The admiral's lips curved into the faintest of smiles. "Then you will fall together," he said. His calmness was worse than shouting, worse than threats. It was the voice of someone who knew he was already winning. The hologram faded. The chamber was left in darkness. The rulers erupted in debate once more. Some screamed for surrender, others demanded war. But beneath the chaos, one truth grew heavy. Humanity had returned with power too great to ignore. That night, across the galaxy, the message spread, every planet, every colony. Every outpost played the human demand. Markets shut down, streets went silent, families gathered around screens, watching the face of the human admiral repeat the same words again and again, disarm or fall. In secret rooms, leaders argued with their councils. Some said they could sacrifice weapons for peace. Others said to surrender was death. But none could deny the fear that twisted in their hearts. The Dravari, broken and humiliated, were the loudest in their cries for war. They sent desperate calls to their allies, begging them to stand together. "If we let humans dictate terms now," they shouted, "they will rule us forever." But few answered, even fewer trusted. Among the people, whispers began. Stories of humanity's past surfaced. Old legends returned. Tales of human soldiers who never surrendered. Of human colonies that resisted until the last breath. Of humans who fought even when their worlds burned. These were not forgotten. They were buried. And now, the galaxy remembered. Some began to wonder aloud. What if surrender was not survival? What if the humans demanded more? Fear spread in new shapes, not just of war, but of the future itself. And then, without warning, the human fleet moved again, not toward the Council, not toward another empire, but deeper into space, their formation perfect, their speed unstoppable. They did not explain, they did not warn, they simply advanced. Panic grew. No one knew their target, no one knew their plan. The Council called another session, but this time the voices were weaker. Every ruler understood something terrible. Humanity was not negotiating. Humanity was setting the rules. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt what the Dravari had felt, a tremble, a shiver, a fear born not from words but from power. And somewhere, in the silence of space, Admiral Kane's words echoed in the hearts of every leader. "This is only the beginning. Asterisk, the resistance strikes, the galaxy held its breath." The humans had spoken. Their demand was clear: disarm or fall. But not everyone would bend. Not everyone would bow. On the war world of Korath, the great forges burned brighter than ever. The reptilian Korra refused to submit. Their pride was carved into their scales. Their fleets were their blood. To surrender weapons was to surrender their very souls. They believe fear will break us, hissed Warlord Skarn, his claws scraping the table of stone. But we are not the Dravari. We are the Korra, and we will strike before the humans strike us. His council of generals growled in agreement. Already, massive ships were being fitted with new armor, weapons forged to burn hotter, shields thickened with rare metals. The Korra believed that sheer force could stand against humanity's precision. They believed numbers would win where pride alone had failed. The Dravari, humiliated and bleeding from their first defeat, quickly joined them. "We will not wait for death," snarled their surviving commander, scars still glowing from plasma burns. "We will fight at your side. The humans must see that the galaxy is not theirs to rule." And so it began, in secret. The resistance was born. The Korra, the Dravari, and a handful of other proud empires bound by fury. They called it the Coalition of Defiance. They believed together they could do what none could alone. From hidden docks, fleets rose. Thousands of ships glittered like stars. Engines burned, weapons armed, the void filled with fire and metal. It was the largest mobilization since the old wars of the First Council. The galaxy trembled again, but this time in dread of what was coming. The humans, however, did not flinch. Their fleet moved steadily, calm as ever. When the coalition forces appeared on their path, humanity did not halt. Admiral Kane's fleet cut through the black like a blade of light. And then the void ignited. The resistance struck first. Missiles, beams, and plasma waves poured toward the humans. The darkness of space turned into a burning ocean. Entire constellations seemed to flicker under the storm of weapons. The alien commanders roared in triumph. For a moment, they believed they had trapped humanity at last. But then the human fleet answered. The first counterstrike was not loud. It was clean, precise, terrifying. Human weapons cut through the chaos like surgeons. Entire squadrons of Dravari ships exploded in silence. Korra dreadnoughts cracked open as if made of glass. The human guns did not miss. Not once. Every shot was death. Every beam was final. Impossible, whispered a Korra commander as his screen filled with fire. They fight as if they see the future. Still, the resistance fought on. Thousands of ships pressed forward, determined to overwhelm with sheer numbers, determined to prove that humanity could be broken. The void became graveyard of fire. Yet humanity stood unshaken. Their formations never wavered. Their shields never faltered. Their counterfire carved holes through fleets like a knife through paper. Alien courage turned to desperation. Desperation turned to screams. On the council, worlds' rulers watched in horror. The battle was streamed across the galaxy. Every empire saw the truth with their own eyes. They saw their strongest warriors fall. They saw their proudest ships shatter. And still, the humans pressed forward. At the height of the battle, when the coalition still clung to hope, Admiral Kane's voice cut across all channels. Calm as ever, you fight bravely, he said, but you do not understand. The aliens froze, even in battle. His words reached them. This is not our strength, Kane said. His face appeared on their screens, his voice steady while fire raged around him. You face only one fleet. And then the void itself shifted. Hyperspace. Ruptured, new shapes poured into the stars. One by one, armadas emerged, larger than anything the galaxy had ever seen. 10 human fleets, gleaming like burning suns, filled the darkness. The stars themselves seemed drowned by their presence. Gasps and screams echoed through alien ships. No, no, it cannot be, cried a Dravari officer as his sensors filled. With impossible readings, the coalition leaders watched in despair as their hope burned. If one fleet had shaken them, what could 11 do? The battle did not continue. It ended. Resistance broke not with weapons, but with fear. The alien fleets scattered, fleeing in panic. Some surrendered on the spot, shutting down weapons. Others jumped into hyperspace, abandoning comrades, abandoning war, for no courage could stand against what they now faced. In the silence that followed, the humans stood victorious. 11 fleets now filled the galaxy's heart. A power unmatched, a power undeniable. The galaxy whispered the same truth, again and again. One fleet had made them tremble, but now humanity had shown them more, and in that moment, the galaxy learned fear like never before. Asterisk. The armadas arrived. The stars had never seen such a sight. The void itself seemed to shatter as hyperspace gates tore open, one after another, burning wounds in the black sky. From each wound, titans emerged, human ships, colossal and unending. The galaxy had thought one fleet was impossible. Now 11 filled the heavens. They came in silence. No war drums, no proud banners, only the hum of power. They stretched across entire star systems. Formations too vast to count. Engines glowed like suns. Hulls black and sharp as blades. It was as if the night sky had grown teeth. The council chambers trembled with screams and silence alike. Some rulers collapsed where they stood. Others clawed at their seats. Their minds could not hold the image. Impossible, whispered the Volari, their light dimming with fear. No race could build this. Not in centuries, not in millennia. But the truth was burning in front of them. Humanity had not returned with scraps. Humanity had returned with might greater than empires combined. On resistance ships, panic spread. The coalition commanders shouted orders, but no one listened. Some fled without firing a shot. Some deactivated weapons and begged for mercy. Others froze, too broken to move. Pride shattered, rage drowned, only fear remained. Admiral Kane's voice filled the void once more, calm, steady, certain. We asked you to disarm. You chose war instead. Now you see our answer. The armadas did not fire. Not yet. They simply stood, filling space like gods, their silence heavier than any weapon. The message was clear. Humanity could destroy them. Humanity chose not to, at least for now. In the council chamber, Voices cracked. "We must surrender," cried the Korra's rivals. "We must kneel before they erase us." But the Dravari representative slammed his fists, eyes burning with shame. "We cannot live like this," he roared. "To bow is worse than death." But no one listened to him anymore. For every ruler knew the truth. There was no fight left. On the colonies and planets across the galaxy, fear turned to prayer. Entire cities gathered under their skies. Watching the live feeds, children cried, elders wept, traders closed their stalls, soldiers lowered their rifles. The galaxy had always been divided by greed and pride, but now they shared one thought, one terror. Humanity rules us. Among the common people, whispers grew into fearful legends. They called it the Night of 11 Suns, a night when the stars vanished behind human power. Some said the fleets were endless, that even if one was destroyed, 10 more would appear. Some said the humans had built entire worlds into ships. Planets turned into fortresses of war, and yet Admiral Kane's voice was not filled with hate. It was cold, yes, but not wild. He did not scream. He did not boast. His words were simple. "We return not for vengeance, but for justice." He said, "No empire will threaten Earth again. No power will strike at humanity without consequence. From this day, the galaxy will know balance." The council struggled to reply, their voices small, broken. "And if we refuse?" whispered Chancellor Velrin, trembling. "Then," Kane answered, his voice sharp as a blade, "you will vanish from history as if you never were." The silence after his words was endless. No one dared breathe, for the galaxy realized it was already defeated. Still, the human fleets did not attack. They held their ground, waiting, watching. Their restraint was worse than war, for it forced the rulers to choose their fate with trembling hands. On the Korra homeworld, Warlord Skarn pounded his chest, declaring he would fight to the last. Yet his own generals whispered against him. His people begged him to stop, for even the fiercest warrior knew that 10 armadas meant doom. On the Dravari worlds, riots broke out. Clans turned against each other. Some demanded vengeance. Others demanded surrender. Their once proud people torn apart by fear. Across the galaxy, submission began. One by one, empires broadcast their compliance. Weapons dismantled, fleets grounded. Entire star systems swore they would not resist. It was not unity born of trust. It was obedience born of terror. Admiral Kane watched it unfold. His expression never changed. His fleet held formation. His armadas glowed in silence. And then, slowly, he spoke again. "The galaxy mocked us once," he said. "They called us broken, weak, forgotten. But now you see the truth. Earth does not crawl. Earth does not beg. Earth returns." His final words spread across every world, recorded in every language, carved into memory. Remember this night, for 1 fleet made you tremble, but 11 made you bow. And with those words, the galaxy entered a new age, an age where every star, every world, every ruler looked to the sky and remembered the fear of humanity's return. Asterisk, a new order. The 11 human armadas held their ground. They did not move. They did not fire. They filled the sky like mountains of iron and flame, silent yet louder than any war cry. The galaxy trembled beneath their presence, waiting for the next command. For days, the fleets did not leave. Every world they passed stopped breathing. Alien soldiers abandoned their posts. Farmers left fields. Markets froze. Life itself seemed to pause. The galaxy watched and waited. At last, the transmission came. Admiral Kane appeared again, his image. Calm, his voice sharp. Every ruler, every governor, every citizen leaned forward to listen. "You have seen our strength," he said. "You know resistance is death, but we do not seek your extinction. We do not seek to enslave. We seek only order, an order that will ensure Earth is never mocked." Again, an order that will bring balance to the stars. The council chamber was filled with silence. Dozens of rulers stared at the human face, some filled with fear, some with hate, some with quiet acceptance. Cain raised his hand. "Here is the law of the new order," he said. "No empire will ever threaten another with fleets. The age of endless wars is over. You will disarm. You will reduce your weapons to defense alone. Any who break this law will face us. And you know what that means." The chamber shook with whispers. Entire histories of conquest and expansion vanished in a single sentence. The proud empires that built themselves on war now saw their future vanish like dust. "And one more law," Cain continued, his eyes cold. "No alien shall raise hand or weapon against humanity again. You will not enslave us. You will not mock us. You will not touch us. Any empire that harms even one human will face the fire of our fleets." The words rang through the stars like thunder. The Korra ruler hissed in rage. "This is tyranny," he shouted. "You do not bring order, you bring chains." But Cain did not flinch. "Chains?" he said, his tone like iron. "You built chains for centuries. You enslaved, you burned, you mocked. You called us broken, forgotten. But you were wrong. Now you will live under a truth greater than pride, the truth of survival." Across the galaxy, messages poured in. Some rulers bowed quickly, eager to survive. Others wept in silence, surrendering their fleets. On some worlds, crowds cheered, for peace meant safety at last. On others, riots erupted. Pride could not accept humiliation, but no voice, no weapon, no fleet dared to challenge. For the 11 armadas still burned above them. The Dravari clans, once so proud, fell into chaos. Some refused to obey. Their leaders swore to rebuild in secret. But even they knew if humans wished, they could erase Dravari blood from the stars in a single day. The Korra snarled, but their generals dismantled their weapons anyway. Their people begged them to survive, even if it meant kneeling. On peaceful worlds, the whispers changed. Perhaps this is not tyranny. Some said, perhaps this is safety. Perhaps the humans will stop the endless wars. Perhaps the killing will end. And yet, beneath the surface, fear ruled. No one forgot the sight of Dravari fleets breaking apart like dust. No one forgot the 11 suns that blotted out the stars. Peace had come, but peace born of trembling. Hands, Admiral Cain watched as compliance spread. His fleets recorded every act of surrender, every weapon dismantled, every oath sworn. When the council finally broadcast their acceptance, Cain gave his final words. "Remember this day," he said, his face solemn. "You did not bow to earth alone. You bowed to your own mistakes. You bowed to the weight of your wars. We return not as your masters, but as your reminder. The galaxy is vast, but no voice will ever again rise against earth unchecked." His image faded, but his words remained, carved into the minds of every race, every ruler, every child who had seen the skies darkened by human steel. The new order had begun, not chosen by vote, not built by trust, but forced by fear. A galaxy, once ruled by pride, now lived under silence. And in that silence, one truth burned brightest of all. One fleet had made them tremble. 11 had made them obey, and humanity now held the galaxy in its grasp. Asterisk. Fear of the future of the galaxy was quiet, too quiet. No fleets moved, no empires roared. The skies that once burned with endless wars now lay still. For the first time in living memory, the stars belonged to silence, and that silence was filled with only one thought: fear. On every world, in every home, the same question whispered, what comes next? The humans had forced the galaxy to obey. They had set their laws, they had ended the wars, but no one knew their true purpose. No one knew if Earth's armadas would remain as guardians or executioners. Children looked to the skies and asked their parents, will they stay forever? Traders shut their doors at night and whispered, "Will they take our markets next?" Rulers sat in dim halls, staring at broken fleets, asking, "Will we ever rise again?" The Dravari hid in their ruined fortresses, nursing their wounds. Their pride was shattered, but their hate was alive. They whispered of revenge in secret, but even their strongest warriors trembled when they remembered Admiral Kane's calm voice. "You will vanish." The Korra burned with rage. Their warlords roared to their people that they would one day rise. But in their eyes there was doubt. They knew that no matter how many ships they built, the shadow of 11 armadas would always hang over them. The Valari, beings of light, embraced the new order. "Perhaps this is peace," they said. "Perhaps humanity will stop us from destroying each other." Yet even they flickered in unease, for they knew the peace was built on chains of fear. In the chambers of the council, the rulers no longer shouted, they no longer argued, they spoke. In hushed voices, their meetings were shorter, colder, for what was the point of debate when every law now ended with the same truth? What will the humans allow? And still, the human fleets did not leave. They lingered like storm clouds over the stars, watching, waiting. Their silence was heavier than any battle. For the galaxy did not know if they stayed to protect or to remind. Admiral Kane himself rarely spoke, but when he did, his words spread like fire. He gave no speeches of conquest, no boasts of glory, only simple statements. "Order will remain," he said, "if you obey. You will live. If you defy, you will vanish." His calmness was worse than war drums, for it was final, absolute. Whispers spread of Earth itself, a world unseen for centuries. Some said it had become a fortress, its surface hidden under shields and weapons. Others claimed it was a paradise now, rich and green, defended by fleets of iron suns. Some even believed the humans had forged entire new Earths. Hidden in the dark, planets were made as weapons. No one knew. No one dared to go near. Fear became faith. Some races began to worship humanity, carving statues of human soldiers, painting stars black in their honor. Others cursed their name in silence, but never aloud. For they knew the humans were listening. The galaxy's poets called it the Age of Trembling, an age where the stars still shone, but dimmer, as if even light itself bowed before Earth. And among the common people, a deeper fear grew, not of destruction, but of tomorrow. If the humans held such power, if they had returned from ruin with fleets greater than empires, then what else were they capable of? If they had built 11 armadas in the dark, what had they not shown? What lay hidden, waiting? A child on a mining world asked her father, "Will they protect us forever?" The father could not answer, for no one knew if the humans came as saviors or as masters. On the farthest edges of the galaxy, resistance still whispered. Secret groups formed in shadows. "We must prepare," they said. "We must wait for the day the humans weaken." But their voices were few, and even they trembled when they spoke, for they knew deep down the humans did not weaken. They endured. They always endured, and so the galaxy lived. Not in fire, not in freedom, but in fear. A fear that bound worlds tighter than chains. A fear that silenced wars greater than peace treaties. A fear that turned proud empires into quiet shadows. Above them all, the human fleets floated in silence. 11 armadas, unmoving, unshaken. They had made their demand. They had won their obedience. And now they watched, patient as the stars themselves. The galaxy would never forget. They would never be the same. One fleet had made them tremble. 11 had made them bow. But the question that haunted every ruler, every child, every heart was darker still. If humanity could return once with such power, what would happen the next time they chose to rise?